going to be adding and subtracting fractions. When you add or subtract fractions, you need to make sure that you have a common denominator. So if we look at the first question here, we have 2/7 plus 3/4. If you look for common denominators, we're effectively asking ourselves, what's the common multiple, the least common multiple between 7 and 4? Well, to do this, I would start out with the largest of the two, 7. Then just go by multiples. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35, and so on and so forth. Then you take the 4 and ask yourself, does 4 go into 7? No, it does not. Does 4 go into 14? No. Does 4 go into 21? No. Does 4 go into 28? Yes. So that means that 28 is the common denominator between 7 and 4 for these denominators. Here's the thing though, we can only multiply something by 1. So to multiply something by 1, we need to multiply the same thing in both the numerator and denominator. The denominator we need to become 28. So 7 times what gives you 28? Well, if you just do 28 divided by 7, that gives you 4. So we need to multiply the 7 by 4, which means we need to multiply the 2 also by 4. The same thing with the 4. How does 4 become 28? Well, that's multiplying by 7. So the numerator needs to be multiplied by 7 as well. Then we're going to simplify. Well, not simplify, but we're going to multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 7 is 28. Notice that now we have a common denominator, and we can just add the numerators. 8 plus 21 is 29. So that gives you 29 over 28. And then you need to simplify if you can. Well, the great thing about this is that you don't actually need to simplify this because 29 is prime. However, we might want to change this from an improper fraction, notice that the 29 is larger than the 28, and convert it into a mixed number. Well, how many times does 28 go into 29? Once. And what's the remainder? 1. And keep your divisor the same. So it would be the same thing as 1 and 1/28. Look at number 2. We have 2/7 plus 3/9. Again, between 7 and 9, we're trying to figure out the least common denominator. Again, I'm going to look at the 9 and ask myself, 7 and 9, well, I'm going to ask myself, what are the multiples of 9 that are also multiples of 7? Well, we can always just do 7 times 9. That gives us 63. And that may be the only thing that we can use. But just to find out, let's write down the multiples. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. And I'm going to stop at 63 because 9 times 7 is 63. Notice that 7 is not a factor of any of these numbers except for 63. Well, actually, so because 7 is not a factor of anything until you get to 63 here, that means that 63 is the least common denominator. Again, we need to multiply both fractions by something. 7 times what gives me 63? Well, in this case, 9. So we're going to multiply by 9 over 9. And the 9 times 7 is 63. Then multiply straight across. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 7 is 63. 3 times 7 is 21. 9 times 7 is 63. Notice that we now have a common denominator. 18 plus 21 is 39, divided by 63. And the question becomes, can this simplify? And the answer is probably yeah. And here's the thing. Every single number here is divisible by 3. The 3, the 9, the 6, the 3. Everything is divisible by 3. Therefore, everything is divisible by 3. So I'm going to divide by 3 in both the numerator and denominator. So 39 divided by 3 is 13. And 63 divided by 3 is 21. Then look at 13 and 21. Do they share a common factor? And the answer is no. There's your answer. Alrighty, well, have fun.